Howdy folks, Tom Barbalet here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So now this thing has finally come out, this Field of Chaos thing. I wanted to, I'm sorry this is shaky iPhone kind of hand cam footage, but I wanted to just give some indication of the amount of work basically that goes into self-publishing. And I wanted to make the point in particular that this has really been more than a year's worth of work that I've kind of kept under wraps, not including the fact that I had written this text 1993, really 1993. And I just wanted to go through the various parts of this in physical form, just to give some indication of basically the amount of work that goes into self-publishing. The first thing I wanted to say is that contemporary publishing just isn't ready. I mean, it's dead, basically. The traditional means of getting an agent and getting this kind of stuff out is just not applicable anymore. So in reaction to this, you have to basically go through all these steps to get what is, well, in my case, old material, what old material made new, out there in a published form. So this is still part of a work-in-progress experiment. But basically what happened was, more than a year ago now, I discovered Lulu.com. I discovered that they had a means to actually get the vast amount of text that I've written over a large part of my adult life out, and I wanted to start with the very earliest of text, which was some writing that I did in 1993, broadly called Field of Chaos. In fact, it's actually two texts put together and then called Field of Chaos. But I wanted to talk a little bit previously about, I'm going to be relatively careful about this because I don't want to basically give out the background too much to this, to say that I had written extensively, and Field of Chaos really was 5 drafts in its writing, and the draft that I picked for the publication was the 4th draft. And I picked it for the 4th draft because it was the draft that just came before my experiences in Elands. And for folks who read Field of Chaos, they'll understand more about that. So there are 5 versions of Field of Chaos in this printing, plus also the Elands related text, which was originally an independent novella, which was originally called Just Call Me Jesus. And then I've kind of integrated it in the current Field of Chaos writing. So this is the way it started. Was a relatively thick, I don't think this one is what is that, 300 plus pages worth of text. Relatively small font. A lot of editing, a lot of stuff in that. Originally, Field of Chaos was written as non-fiction, then it became fictionalized, and that's all. So this basically represents 5 drafts of Field of Chaos plus the Elands writing, all put together in one work to work out which of the 5 drafts I wanted to use, because obviously picking the 4th draft is probably one of the colder and more fictionalized accounts. The 5th draft is considerably longer. But I opted for the 4th draft with the view that, well, the 5th draft might see the light of day, but we'll see how it goes, because certainly there's a lot of additional detail and stuff like that. So anyway, I got that, and I don't even know which direction it went. I think probably the next one was this. I gave a series of copies for people to read, which was just a combination of the Elands stuff, and then my mother is an author, and I don't know what edit this came in, but basically she did her own draft, and I printed it, a thick cover to go through it. And then the many iterations of kind of self-editing and getting it out to people came out there. Originally, they were all written in these books, and I probably should have a pile of books as well, just to show them. But really, it's kind of an eclectic Field of Chaos prehistory, so I don't necessarily want to do that. So as you can see, I was just testing a variety of formats. These are some early drafts. I'm not even just getting a sense of what I wanted. This is basically a reprint of the, as you can see, 2nd draft. Some dates associated with the writing. So originally, and these are pretty well as Field of Chaos came through. I tried CreateSpace, and I'm not sure if these are the problem ones, but various ones came from CreateSpace that were just wrong. like in terms of just the general formatting and various other things. So these kind of off-color ones are the ones that came from CreateSpace, trying a variety of fonts. Didn't end up going with CreateSpace just because they gave me so much trouble. Then went through a series of iterations through Lulu again, where, I don't know, the covers were wrong and various other things. So I went through a series of more iterations and also constantly going through the text of these things. And this really was where the time was, because each of these ones takes about 2 weeks to produce. So I need to be quite serious in terms of my actual underlying editing. Some of these you can see just constant revisions, constant editing. This is at least moving towards the final iteration, but here the problem was actually getting the spine right. One variety of other things. I just basically became increasingly neurotic associated with the actual form of the book. Here we actually I'll show you some of the other ones first. So I really like this little format. It's like a little notebook style format. These were some of the earlier ones. I think some of these ones had pictures and stuff at the end. This is run with really early ones because there's a lot of stuff in the back. I wrote a prologue at the end. Epilogue, perhaps? Anyway, I wrote a section at the end that was cut, and basically my mother's advice was just cut it all down, remove all the stuff that happens after the fact, just basically get the story out there. So as you can see here, the covers kind of went through various iterations, testing things coming out of cover, and a wide variety of other problems associated with just getting the covers right, as you see that. This is one of the early ones actually, so these are actually quite out of order. But anyway, so then I came to kind of last two iterations, and really this doesn't actually cover a lot of the additional stuff, a lot of the additional editors that contributed, folks such as Heron Stone, and a couple of my co-workers and various other people that I utilised as kind of readers. And this is the final two iterations. I decided that the text needed to be white, having actually picked up the book in a darkened room, and I think this is pretty well. I've actually, in order to get it out with the proper ISBN on the cover, I had to do a repagination, and I'm actually waiting on the final draft, which is why I've got the I guess what I'm calling the pre-release versions out now, so you can buy electronic copies and what have you, but I probably may even have to do an additional iteration just to clean up the final requirements for publication. So I'm still on a learning curve, but I just wanted to get the text out there for people that were just generally hungry and interested. And if you do get these early copies that are only available through Lulu, you probably have the advantage that you're actually getting a collector's edition, because if I have to do any final proof reiterations, things are going to be different. So this one is still no ISBN, but basically got the white on. So many iterations associated with the cover. I mean, the funny thing about this is that just basically I became very finicky, and also obviously lots of internal editing stuff too, although this is pretty well the final copy. This is the earlier one. I think this is the one where I did, I'm not sure, but in each of them, I had to do repagination and a wide variety of things. This one actually I hadn't edited, so it must have been one of the other ones that I pulled the editing through, maybe this one. With some of the scribbling. Yeah, so again, changing pages, got to re-edit the table of contents, but let me just give you an overview. This isn't what it's going to look like, but variety of kind of setting photos, and I have to give thanks to Heron Stone for actually requiring a glossary at the end, and I think that'll probably help American readers in particular, but also just people that want a degree of depth through this writing. So anyway, this is Tom Barbalet. This is kind of a launch video, I guess, because you can now actually purchase a version, whether or not it's the final version. There's still a version that's out there. Cat Luna wants to be in the video. Hello, Luna. Oh, she's thumbing her nose at Field of Chaos. But anyway, so this has been about a year and a half's worth of very part-time work, but I think it's been worth it. I mean, I've certainly felt that Field of Chaos was a kind of starting point for me. It's basically a fictionalized account of my experiences writing antiviral software and some of the characters that I encountered. Although very heavily fictionalized through that section, it was still the version that was then picked up and read by folks in the other part of the work, but really I don't want to give too much away about that, aside from the fact that you can currently pick it up pretty cheaply in the ebook version. I don't know what $3.99 is in ebook terms. And this one I currently got discounted down under $10 US, which was really critical. And Lulu, of course, takes a substantial cut, and the one that's going to be sold in stores, another substantial cut. So really I'm making fractions of a dollar in terms of the various sold versions. But I just wanted to experiment with the form with the view that there is a sequel to Field of Chaos, and then there's a lot of additional writing, and Luna's going to town on some plastic bag off camera. So that's probably my time to wrap it up. There's going to be a lot more of this. I'm really testing this format as a means of getting out information and removing a lot of the kind of circumventing that I've found with traditional publishing, and basically the impossibility of actually getting out a product at a reasonable price that ticks all the boxes as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, Tom Barbalet in Las Vegas, Nevada, with just this overview of the the physical affectation of the amount of work associated with self-publishing. Because, yeah, I have been doing this kind of behind the scenes, this fieldofchaos.com. I've registered a while back just for this release. But yeah, this is kind of the antithesis of a book launch. So my hope is once the physical copies go out to stores and stuff, that I actually do a proper book launch or something like that as a kind of, I don't know, last hurrah of my parents' experience actually publishing books in a considerably more traditional format. But I guess this is the new age, folks. And of course there'll be a pile of digital versions as well, but the books make a better kind of wall of paper. Anyway, Tom Barbalet, Las Vegas, Nevada, signing out.